Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Ian Lombardo. Today we're talking with Samantha. Claire is a postpartum doula and is the founder of Phone My Friend. Claire, thank you for being with us today. Can you tell us more about what Phone My Friend is?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ian, for taking the time to speak with me today and learn about what I do. So, in a nutshell, I'm a postpartum doula, and we can go into a little bit later what a postpartum doula is, because I'm sure you're dying to know. A lot of people don't know what one is. So, Phone My Friend is a confidential online and over-the-phone listening service for anybody that is lonely or that just wants to be heard. You know, I listen like the bartender or a hairstylist. You know, they listen without offering you advice, or we don't give you tools on how to fix your life. That's not our job. So it's the same with me at Phone My Friend. I listen as you share your stories, rants, or any topics that interest you. Going back to what I just said earlier about, I don't give advice or give people tools on how to fix their life. If I feel that a client is looking at me to resolve their problems, then I might point out that therapy is an area that they might think about looking into, because that's not my place to be their therapist. So I'll always make sure that they're aware of that I don't give them financial, marital, or any health advice. So that's where the advice will come from in that regard, but it won't come from me as if I'm a therapist. I really just listen, and not everybody that is lonely needs a therapist. They just want to talk, share secrets with somebody, and that's what I do. I listen to your secrets.
Okay, great, interesting. So how did you come up with the idea for this?
Good question. I've always felt that I had a bigger purpose. I was never really sure what it was. Even though I love my job as an esthetician, because I was an esthetician for 14, 15 years, I found my love of listening to my clients and their stories was actually stronger than my love of actually doing aesthetics. After experiencing hardships myself, just like everybody has, and struggling to find that one consistent person that could just listen without overanalyzing me or giving me some psychic feeling that they had about my situation, or downplaying what I was saying. The idea really came to me fast and furious, I'll be honest with you, a few months after I lost my young niece to suicide. I realized that if I went for counseling, which is not a bad thing, it's a great and very beneficial thing to a lot of people, it's just not what I needed at that time for myself. Because I'm pretty good at being self-aware of why I feel the way I do. I knew why I felt crap. Obviously dealing with a suicide. I just wanted somebody that would listen, and listen. And some people avoided, or they gave advice that wasn't wanted. They don't intend to do that. I understand people try to help, but sometimes you just need to listen. And that's kind of where the feeling came from. So in a nutshell, I want to be the person that I wish I had to turn to when those times were bad for me. Some people use God, and that is great. Some people hear back from God with their answers. And some don't have a belief or get that relief talking to God. So I'm not saying that I am God or anything, but I just want to be that voice that hears them when they talk. That's basically the premise behind my madness.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. And I was going to ask you, and I think you've kind of really answered this question, but I think maybe for some people it would bear going into a little bit more, and that is how it's different, or how what you do is different from counseling and other types of services.
So, counseling is the process by which a counselor is basically a mental health professional that helps an individual understand and solve problems to help yourself or, whoever cope with mental or emotional stresses. But so, my friend, I'm not here to help you solve problems or diagnose mental issues. by having a person to share a secret with can help some individuals that are at a fork in the road make decisions quicker that they might not have made anyway. It just might take them a bit longer if they had nobody to express themselves with. Because like I said earlier, not everybody that has something to get off their chest or that is lonely needs to have their life problems, solved in any way. They just like to share, to feel the burden lift from their shoulders. So that is what I do. I listen so they can share their stories. I won't offer them counseling or therapy like a counselor would do. They would try and fix their life or give them tools on how to fix it. I don't do that. But by me just listening, that can be very beneficial to somebody in itself.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So who would you say is your ideal client or someone that you enjoy working with?
Oh, my gosh, my ideal client. Oh, my ideal client, I suppose, is a client, I don't know, that does cartwheels naked in the neighborhood after they've spoken with me because they're really happy that there's released that burden all day.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm kidding. So my ideal client is all my clients are ideal, they have to be over 18. The client that's lonely, introverted, or the celebrity or CEO of a huge corporation, because all my clients go by a username.
Yeah.
So if they have secrets to share with me, they know that I'll never find out who the real person is.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because like even celebrity nannies have spilt the beans before, or a hairstylist of a celebrity has spilt the beans before. I don't know who they are. And I wouldn't spill any beans if I did, because, even if they hint or tell me outright that they are a celebrity, they don't say, obviously, who they are. And I prefer it that way. Because it's not really important for me to know that information, and it doesn't make their story any less exciting or more exhilarating, and everything is confidential. So my lonely client is my ideal client, because I don't know whether you know, but loneliness can lead to depression. I hope to get the client before they hit a really dark place, such as depression. Obviously, this isn't to say that some of my clients that call don't have depression, in which case if they do and they mention that, I always ask if they're seeking medical help, and I can help them find resources, such as a professional to help them with a diagnosis. I could ask for their zip code, and I can go off and do some research later and just send them things that I found through Yelp or something. But if they want to just talk and are happy to know that I am there not to diagnose or to offer them solutions, then that is cool also. So everybody's my ideal client, but the celebrities, are the cool ones. I mean, everybody's a cool client, but celebrities knowing that they're incognito.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Yeah. So I'm curious what some people who have worked with you would say about the experience or have said about it.
I've heard the word refreshing and safe. A lot of clients have said that to me before. They find it a refreshing service or a refreshing place that they can go to. I do have a few testimonials on my website with nice comments from clients. All the names have been changed. Anybody can read those when they visit my website. I don't use Yelp to record anybody's comments because, like I said, a lot of clients go by a username and don't want it common knowledge that they visit me. Whereas when you use something like Yelp, you sign in with your real name and your friends can even see you on Yelp. So it's all confidential. People like it. Sometimes I'll get just the one client and I might not hear from them for a while, but I do get a lot of repeat callers, clients. And they do. They say it's refreshing and they feel safe.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. So, what would you say are some of the most common things that people like to talk with you about?
Oh, God, it's a mixed bag. Let me give you a few most common ones that come to mind. Adultery is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Both sexes just want to tell somebody about it. I'm not saying I'm an advocate of it or I promote it, but I'm also non-judgmental and understand that this is their story. And that's what they have going on right now. They can't tell their friends or their family, but they just have to tell somebody that this is what I'm doing, right or wrong. That's not for me to, tell them otherwise.
Yeah.
The mom and dad with the struggles with realizing that having a newborn baby is a wonderful experience, but much, much harder than they ever anticipated. A lot of moms feel that they should be superwoman or earth mother to friends and family. They think it should be such a natural thing to do and to adjust so naturally, and a lot of them don't, and they find it hard to adjust. And it's nice that they can share with me that it's not as easy as they thought. And I don't think I mentioned earlier, but I had postnatal depression with my first child. That's what propelled me to become a postpartum doula, so that I could listen to that mother that's struggling, that she's finding it harder than she actually thought she was going to find it. Men in the workplace, as far as their careers go, not so much women. Men that find it hard to talk to their partners about their struggles at work with their career. They'd like to lay out on the table with their partners and be honest how they get scared about being the main provider. That's a lot of pressure on a lot of men, especially today. So I asked them about their job and their role and what they think of their boss, if they, or if they are the CEO, then what do they think about their employees? We kind of get some gossip going, what they think about them and stuff. So I'll also ask questions about their wives and their children, if this makes them happy. And just having somebody to share their story gives them a little bit more of a sense of purpose, and it helps them, feel better that they're sharing with somebody that it's hard being the main provider. And the military as well, a lot of military, not necessarily military that are on deployment, but just military that are lonely. They actually want to date, they actually want to be married, they yearn to be married, to be honest with you. A lot of the military people that I talk with, and my son's in the military, he's third year in now, so I actually hear from him as a mom that, all he wants to do is get married, and he talks to me, obviously not through Phil, my friend, but he talks to me about dating sites and funny horror stories and about dating and stuff like that. So, so that's basically, as I say, it's a bit of a mixed bag, really, but I just don't know what call I'm going to get, and that's good.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so you touched on a little bit about parents with newborn babies, and I know you're a postpartum doula. What is that exactly?
Okay, so a postpartum doula is a female that helps another female following the birth of her child. I mother the mother, basically. A nanny takes care of the baby. I take care of the mother with any emotional needs or adjustment issues that she has. As I say, not all moms and fathers take to having a newborn in their life, and they struggle to adjust, and the moms will struggle with breastfeeding or a little bit of postnatal depression. So I offer supportive guidance to both of the parents, both sexes too. They don't have to, obviously, be male or female, and help them transition siblings into their new role, as big brother or sister if they have, siblings. So, that's what a postpartum doula does. We mother the mother.
Great. Okay. Very interesting. Okay, so I think that's about all the questions I have. So how can people learn more about you and your service?
Well, obviously they can visit my website, which is www.myfriend.com. And you can see me on a few social media sites, and I do all my own social media, such as Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. And the username for all of those is Phone My Friend. So basically that's where you can find me. And also, while I have you on the phone, Ian, I wondered if there was something that, if I could just go over with you what I won't listen to. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to kind of, go over this with you so that people are aware of, what I don't listen to. Obviously, you have to be over 18. Anybody that's breaking the law, that talks to me about breaking the law, I can't be a party of that. If they're talking about theft or hurting a person or an animal in the past, present, or intentions for the future, that's what I mean by breaking the law. I'm also a certified suicide gatekeeper. So this has only ever happened once, where somebody calls talking about their wish to end their life, and I am not a suicide prevention hotline.
Gotcha.
If I do have a client that's talking about wishing to end their life, it has been known, as I say, it only happened once. I didn't feel that person was going to call the free hotline number that I was giving to them, so I will use the three-way call system and call the hotline myself and pass the client over to the professional for professional help.
Good.
Because that's not, I'm not the person to talk them off the ledge, but being a suicide gatekeeper, I can ask all the relevant questions just to see how close and how, down they are with their thoughts about ending their life. So that's what I don't listen to, unfortunately. So.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, thank you for being with us today, and I appreciate you coming on and telling us more about your service.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.